to the next episode of Barton Rigged. On today's show, I'm going to take this old desk that's about to fall apart and I'm going to see if I can transform it into a nice computer desk that'll fit nicely in my little girl's bedroom. As you can see, this desk is falling apart. This bottom drawer just hangs out. It doesn't have a track to follow. This top drawer does the same thing. The track is all busted. Pretty much a piece of junk that most people would throw out. Now all the hardware is removed, but I am going to keep this old hardware because you never know when you might need a spare knob for something. Also on other projects, I've used these knobs to be feet for something small that you might make. Our two drawers that need repair are this big one on the bottom and the desk drawer here on the top. The first thing I noticed is that this bar has broken away. The staples had pulled away from the rest of the piece of furniture. So I'll be hammering this back up and drilling a small hole and inserting a screw right here to stabilize that. Now that all the unnecessary hardware has been removed, it's time for me to cut some of the runners for our drawers that need repairing. I removed this reinforcement bar from the bottom of this top desk drawer, and this happens to be just the right size for all the pieces that I need to cut. So I'm going to use it to measure by. The approximation created by this size is just perfect because our links don't have to be precise, as they'll just be guides for the drawer inside and you'll never see them once the job is complete. I have to put screws in the front. So I drilled my preliminary hole and got my bar all lined up. Now I'm going back with a larger bit because I don't have a countersink drill bit. I'm going to drill that hole out a little bit larger so that my head will sink in deep enough that we can then fill that with putty before we paint. I'd like to show you how we did the repair in the drawer. As you see now, I can pull the drawer all the way out and it doesn't fall down, and I can push it all the way in. It works so much better than it did. To see what I did, let me flip it upside down. Right here you'll see this piece that we added and this additional support. This functions as a track for the drawer to glide on when it's open or shut. That was a simple solution that replaced the existing support that was missing pieces, and it didn't cost us anything because we made it entirely out of scrap. We have a similar problem on this bottom drawer. In order to fix that, I've cut these pieces of wood that'll fit right in here and function as a track for that bottom drawer to slide on. Then the only thing we have to worry about is the upward movement. We will eliminate this upward movement by adding a strip on the back that will run across this bar right here and prevent the drawer from hopping up. Okay, here we have our final drawer repaired. As you see, this slides in and out nicely now. I've got my piece up here that's pressing up against this bar, so that's giving us some support up and down. I also added an extra spacer in here. You see when I closed it, just due to warping, there was a little bit of a crack showing. And by adding that extra piece of wood to just the right size with about an 1/8 inch clearance there, that also tightened things up quite a bit. Now that our drawers are repaired and functional, I can move on to a more fun step, and that's when I get to paint this desk. But before I paint it, I'm going to sand this thing down because it's got a couple layers of paint on it already. So let's smooth things out. I'll probably fill in a few places here and there with some wood putty for good measure. After it's all sanded, it'll be ready for primer and then paint. Now, if you wanted a professional factory looking finish, you would need to strip it down to the bare wood. But for our purposes, we're just scuffing it well enough to feather edge any major imperfections, and to ensure adhesion of the new layer of paint. For this type of project, you don't need for it to be completely perfect and smooth. We would rather this project have the "my dad just painted this for me" look. Now that everything is sanded, we can begin with our primer coat. When priming a piece of furniture, you're better off to do a quick, thin coat and then go back and make another coat if necessary, as opposed to a thick coat. Well, here we have it. The primer is dry and we are ready to begin painting our desk. I'm very pleased with how things turned out. Yes, there's the occasional nick and dent, but that only gives it character. We did a good job of sanding and feather edging to where there's no variation from one layer of paint to the other. From here we'll open up our paint can and it's on to making this thing turn colors. While we're stirring, another tip is in between coats, get a Ziploc bag and put your paintbrush inside your Ziploc bag so your paintbrush does not dry out. Once I get it thoroughly mixed, I'm going to wipe off some of the excess paint on our paint stick with our brush and we'll be ready to begin. Now that everything's been painted in, it's just a matter of waiting for this coat to dry and then recoating as needed. Now that the desk is assembled and painted, it's time for us to add our hardware. Rather than going back with the original hardware, we upgraded to these stylish pink handles, which offsets our base color. With everything all assembled, we're ready to return this project into the house and begin setting it up for use as a computer desk. After several days of hard work, everything is complete. Here you see our desk. It's been set up as a computer desk. Our drawers open and close nicely. They're full of all of our office supplies. And here we have our custom-made chair to match our pink knobs. Be sure to watch my follow-up video on how I made this pink chair to match.